What's up, guys? Today I want to talk about a pretty cool concept in Colombian real estate called Estratos. You may have heard of these things. They're basically the different levels that a building or property might have, and they go from level 1 through level 6. This is not something you're going to see in America. They usually don't have any sort of rating or level to them. And the only ones you'll see that might have a different tax base would be properties on the water or on a lakefront. You might see the tax a little higher, but in America, this basically doesn't exist. So over here, they have a 6 level Estrato rating system that determines a lot of things about your property. Um, the first thing to know is they evaluate this property or this level based on a few different factors, and the factors are kind of strange. Like they'll take a look at the facade, the roofing materials, the quality of the street the building is on, and that's about it. They won't go inside the property. They won't look at any materials used on the interior, quality of construction, really, just how it appears on the outside and the materials used on the outside. And the other factor is how close it is to services, the job opportunities close by to the property, and maybe your neighbor's property could affect your rating as well. Why this is important is the stratos are used to sort of punish and reward people at different levels. So levels 1 through 3 are actually subsidized by levels 5 and 6. So people who are in levels 5 and 6 will pay more money on their taxes. They'll pay more money for utilities like electric or internet, and the government will take that money and give it to the people in the lower stratos to make their life more affordable. So like for example, on my utility bill, this is an Estrato 6 property, and on my utility bill you'll see a plus 20%. So I'm paying 20% more for electricity, water, trash, sewer, and internet, and they're giving that money directly to some folk in some cheaper barrios to help pay for their utilities. It's kind of a cool system. When a new building goes up here in Medellin, you'll obviously see like the builder will say, "Oh, we expect this to be a Strato 5 or a Strato 4," based on where they're building it and how they're building it and stuff like that. And there's a lot of fun games that Colombians play with these levels. For example, they usually want to get a lower rating, so they have to pay less tax. But the counter side to having a lower rating is the property may be less valuable in the future. The value won't be protected as well, and it just kind of has a different sort of aesthetic to it, a different sort of feel to it. Like if you know you're in a Strato 4, you may feel like that's not as good of a neighborhood as an Estrato 6. So some developers will push to get a level 6 rating just for prestige or for the perception that comes along with Estrato 6, stuff like that. Another interesting thing is, say you live in a barrio or a building where you're in Estrato 1, 2, or 3. You can use that rating to get discounts on the metro, the bus, different sort of travel things around the city are subsidized because you're a citizen from a poorer neighborhood. So it's a pretty interesting little distribution of redistribution of wealth. Some of the things people will say about estratos are that they sort of preserve wealth for the wealthy and exclude poorer people from being able to improve their property or their neighborhood, because their neighborhood rating will probably never change unless somebody comes in there and just redevelops the whole thing, starts putting in high rises of extremely high quality, Basically, the neighborhood is going to stick around the level it's been at for the years prior. And what you'll see around town is like El Poblado is basically all Estrato 6 and Cinco, mostly 6. So these properties all have fully loaded amenities, 24-hour porteria. They're very safe. They're on well-paved streets. There's services nearby. It's just the top level of living you could get here in Medellin. The other thing I've been sort of thinking about is people talk about gentrification a lot in Medellin and how gringos are coming to Medellin and driving up prices and making it unaffordable for the locals. Well, the Estrato system has an interesting characteristic where it sort of protects against gentrification. Like, sure, in El Poblado with Estrato 6, the property prices keep going up and gringos keep buying them, and the demand stays high, and everybody's paying more tax. But no gringos are moving to an Estrato 2 or 1, maybe a 3, and so those neighborhood values are sort of protected in a way by that rating, because people aren't interested in buying in an unsafe area or an area with a lower rating. So the foreigner demand is not pushing up the property values in those neighborhoods. So in a way, Estratos can sort of combat gentrification and sort of specify it to a specific area. But yeah, so I've been here like 5 or 6 months and looked at a lot of buildings in Estrato 5 and 6. And to me, I haven't been able to see what is the difference between 5 and 6. My building has a 6 rating, but this building's 17 years old. Maybe it should have a 5 rating. There's a lot of new buildings out there with a lot better features and cooler stuff that this building doesn't have, like a rooftop pool or a 24-hour fitness or what have you. But for whatever reason, this building maintains its Estrato 6 rating, and we pay the high tax. And something else interesting is Estrato 5 and 6 also pay the same tax. So when you get your utility bill, it's going to have plus 20 whether you're in Estrato 5 or Estrato 6, which is kind of strange. I figured it would be like a sliding scale. What else can I talk about? Oh yeah, so if you have a property and you want to get it reevaluated by the city, you can file an application and have like an inspector guy come out, and he'll take a look at your property. Like maybe you renovated the front facade, you put on a new roof, or the city has come through and paved new roads, added sidewalks, something like that. They may bump up your Estrato rating. Or on the contrary, say you're in Estrato 5 and you feel like, wow, this neighborhood's kind of dumpy, all my neighbors' houses are decrepit and my house is falling apart. Why am I paying these crazy Estrato 5 taxes? And you can have the city come out, and sometimes you'll get lucky and get it re-rated to a 4, so you can pay less. And that was something I didn't mention. So Estrato 4 is the neutral Estrato. They don't pay more, they don't pay less, they just pay the straight rates. 1, 2, and 3 are subsidized, and 5 and 6 are doing the subsidizing. Yeah, so that's a quick synopsis of how Estrato levels work in the Colombian market. I recently read an article about local Colombians sort of complaining that the Estratos had blocked them out of certain neighborhoods and was preserving wealth for the wealthy, which is true to a certain level. But to achieve that, the wealthy people are paying these much higher payments every month on their utilities, on their taxes, and the money's being redistributed to the poor neighborhoods. And in those higher Estrato neighborhoods like 5 and 6, those are the neighborhoods where property values rise a lot more. So they're continually paying even more and more on a percentage basis of their property in taxes or in utility rates. And so, as much as they say it's unfair to the poorer people, well, it's also kind of unfair to the richer people because their fees are constantly going up and they constantly have to pay that extra money to subsidize others. So it's kind of a yin and yang type situation. Um, yeah, if you guys have any questions or you want to see maybe some examples of properties in different estratos, leave a comment below.